Fox News is scared of Bernie and AOC's anti-oligarchy tour. They're trying to push moderates like Slotkin as opposition. You should check out this clip. Sure, not really a clip. It's 10 minutes long, but I mean, I welcome the, I guess, fear and derision of my enemies. You know, how afraid are they?
All right, moderates, watch out. The socialists are stepping up to fill the leadership vacuum in the Democrat Party. Bernie Sanders and AOC are hitting the road with their Fighting Oligarchy tour in red and blue states, taking aim at the usual suspects like Elon Musk and President Trump. But they are also throwing some shade at their own. Watch.
We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us, too. I want you to look at every level of office around and support Democrats who fight, because those are the ones who can actually beat Republicans.
You got guys playing defense, but they also play offense. Our offense is to remind us all and every person in this country, we are the wealthiest nation in the history of this world.
But the moderate wing of the party is doing their best to counter AOC. Democratic Michigan Senator Alyssa Slotkin fired this shot. Listen closely.
I can't just chain myself to the White House and become an activist full time, because you and others here are going to call me for things that you need. All of those things require...
Yeah, for those who don't know, this is the moderate Democrat, aka neocon, who was chosen to respond to Trump's State of the Union address, his address to a joint session of Congress. We hate her.
Me to be more than just an AOC. Everyone you mentioned has a lot of words, but what have they actually done to change the situation with Donald Trump?
But if all else fails, the Bidens are looking for a comeback.
That was an incredibly weak pushback for Fox News to center, by the way. Like, as a counter to AOC and Bernie, this like nobody up and coming senator, like that's like the rejoinder you're following with. Okay.
NBC News reporting that former President Joe Biden and his wife, former First Lady Jill Biden, have been putting out some feelers to Democratic leaders and saying, look, you know, we can help you. We can do fundraising.
That's great. By the way, so far, nobody's been biting. No. Tell me a little bit more about AOC and Bernie. How do you feel about that?
That mean that you don't talk about things that, you know, you get out there and you torch things or you burn things up? I'm not sure what that means. And plus, I think it's kind of crazy that they want to fight an oligarchy when I think it was Fetterman the other day said, I don't think the Democrats should use the word oligarchy. The American people don't know what it means. And I don't think they know what it means, especially Bernie Sanders, because he's a socialist. And the truth is that, you know, socialists control pretty much every aspect of your society, and they want to fight the oligarchy. I mean, I don't quite get it all. But this is a whole bunch of nothing from a whole bunch of nobodies, because Donald Trump broke the Democrat Party. They don't have a message. They don't have a messenger. They just want to fight. They don't know what they want to fight about. Half of them are happy about what's going on with the torching of the Tesla vehicles.
I feel like you have to take pointers from the enemy sometimes, right? Where you have to get a feel for what they're afraid of. There's nothing that there's nothing that Republicans are less afraid of than Joe Biden, right? Like it even became a running joke with Donald Trump that he wanted Joe Biden to be the guy he was up against. He still talks about Joe Biden, worst president ever, of course, but like they have nothing to fear from him. They know he's weak. They know that he's, well, in addition to being like 500 years old, he represents an ideology that doesn't really pose a threat to them. They have always treated AOC like a real threat, you know? The idea that they go after her because she's an easy target is laughable. They go after her for literally anything they can. And there's so much internal incoherence, right? I mean, I know that's not new from Fox News, but like AOC and Bernie are radicals because they're socialists, but also the whole government is socialist, but they're more radical than Kamala Harris and Joe Biden even, but Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are also radical Marxist socialists. If the fascists need to keep painting you as this over and over and over again to make a point, it kind of, they're telling you what they're afraid of, right? I mean, it's not subtle. They know there's a reason why they preferred Hillary Clinton to Bernie Sanders as an opponent in 2016.
Nobody's coming out against it other than Ro Khanna and maybe Bernie Sanders. They are they're in the middle of an abyss. They don't know what to do. And, I think in the end, the party is going to be split. They say they're like the Republican Party when the Tea Party came in and kind of fractured it. They've got like two Tea Parties. They don't know who they are or what they're about. And, if final note, if AOC wants to say,
what's your weird accent? Box wine.
They're the party of the working Americans. Don't let her forget that she wouldn't allow Amazon to come to Queens.
Don't let you think she's pro working class? Don't let her forget what she did to Amazon. Don't let her forget.
There were 25,000 jobs that would have been available. $4 billion in lost wages. $4 billion
according to Amazon.
In additional business to local businesses. Don't even use the word AOC.
Jess, I have the same question when she talks about fighting, wanting someone who fights.
Dude, Gutfeld is gonna die. Look at his posture. Holy shit. I got like a twinge of back pain looking at this.
I have the same question when she talks about.
What the You're on camera, man. God, dude, I can't even like replicate. This is like to replicate this pose, I would feel like I'm doing an ableist caricature.
Fighting,
of like
wanting someone who fights.
Stephen
and
Hawking.
Fighting the oligarchy. What does that actually mean to you as you hear it?
It means that we need representatives that want to be out there with the people, holding rallies and town halls, people who are talking about what's going on in the administration, the trade-offs of, Trump wanting trillions in tax cuts for people who earn a ton of money and that they're going to come and cut your Medicaid. She's talking about people that are open and honest and responsive, and people who admit what's going on, the harsh realities of what's going on in some blue cities, which is, she had been talking about it. And this week I've mentioned it every day, but Ezra Klein and Derek Thompson's new book, Abundance, is coursing through the conversation in Democratic circles.
Is she the Democrat? This is the pet liberal of the five. I don't feel for her. Like, I mean, like, it's got to be a rough job.
So, AOC and Bernie, you can call them radicals. They're democratic socialists. They're talking about things like, it should be a basic human right to have good health care and to have the right to a good education and a roof over your head and be able to make enough money to put food on the table. That's not where, listen, Democratic Socialists is the left side of the party for sure, but they are bringing in crowds. He has more people showing up to his rallies now than even when he was running for president, and he had big crowds at that moment. The reason, though, that this isn't a Tea Party movement within our party, at least at this point, is that you're not seeing progressives winning their elections. They're not primarying moderates and winning it all. Moderates were hugely successful in the 2024 election on the congressional and Senate level, which is part of what Elisa Slotkin's talking about. She won Michigan as a moderate Dem when Donald Trump won as well. But
by the way, like, people talk about this, but I just feel like you can't accept those results as representative when the Democratic Party does everything that it can, not everything that it can, but a lot, to uplift moderates and put down progressives. I mean, Jesus Christ, look what happened to Jamal Bowman, right? Like, it's difficult to make any kind of like objective assessment of the viability or electability or popularity of any of these people when it's being done in an environment where the party is openly hostile, at the very least, to anyone who's anti-Zionist or even remotely critical of Israel. Why is he so slouchy on the right? I genuinely, Gutfeld's posture is making me uncomfortable.
Pritzker's getting on the road, and these town halls, they're huge. 800 for Pat Ryan, 1,300 for Jason Crow. That's what fighting is. It's showing up.
Tea Party, Jesse. When I think of the Tea Party, I think about smaller government and less regulation and lower taxes that pushed the Republican Party back to those roots. I'm trying to figure out, if that, do they want more government, larger government? Is that where a fringe Tea Party would push the Democrat Party at this point?
Well, we know what they want, and no one wants it. It was DEI, it was trans surgeries, it was cash bail. It's been rejected, and it's all based in cities. The Tea Party was a
cash bail. I guess that's a racist dog whistle to an extent, yeah.
National movement. It was intergenerational, and they won massive midterms. And it wasn't just in the House. They put Tea Party people in the Senate, and Trump came out of the Tea Party. So I don't see a Tea Party yet, but it could be fun to watch. I'm afraid what it's going to look like if Democrats fight harder. They shot him.
Yeah.
We didn't shoot
They
him.
fined him $500 million. They tried to strip him off the ballot. They impeached him twice. They had a guy with a gun show up to a Supreme Court justice's house after they accused him of rape. I mean, literally, what more can you guys do?
He said the quiet part out loud. Have you ever watched Jesse Waters at all?
The only thing that you haven't done is shut down the government. Be my guest. Because then we'll find out who is really an essential worker. But you're right, Jessica. You actually define fighting better than I've ever heard anybody. Because right now, your party thinks fighting is like throwing a cane at Trump. That's not fighting with a little sign. That's nothing. I think what you guys need to do is recruit, raise money, and with the midterms.
Great.
And then you can start doing things.
We had our strongest grassroots fundraising month, actually.
I'm so excited for you.
Well, maybe Kamala will come in and
Fighting the
defend it.
oligarchy, Greg.
Yeah.
Is that resonating
How
with
long
Americans?
are we going to ignore the big story here?
He can talk.
AOC saying fart. I mean,
Holy shit. I was going to make fun of Gutfeld for being unfunny, but he pretty much pegged you guys at your level of engagement with that clip.
come on. You have me on this show and you don't even bring...
It did take him 7 minutes to get to that, though. Like, no one watching this remembers that, except for you guys.
the fact that she says fart, that's from hanging around
This
Bernie,
is you.
you know what I mean? Ooh, baby.
That's from the man
that
with the
message
poop mug.
truly stinks. But yeah, Bernie and AOC, do you think they're banging the wrong drum here? No, the message. For example, I've never actually said the word oligarchy out loud until today. Oligarchy. What's next? Plutocracies? Shall we target plutocracies on behalf of the proletariat? I mean, that might make the purple man buns in the quad swoon, but it ain't going to fly in the living room, kiddos. When they talk about fighting, they're saying they need a Trump. That's what they're saying. But I'm gonna define what an oligarchy is and where you can find one. It means government by the few. So the only way an oligarchy can exist is if it's non-transparent. But what's the most transparent government in history? The one that shows you where your money's being spent? The one that...
Right. Yeah, the point here isn't like rebuking the kind of stuff they say on the 5. Like, what other... If I take a look, what else are they saying here? God, Fox News posts a lot. What do we just look at? That was from a few days ago. I take it 1 day ago. That was from 1 day ago. What else have they said about Democrats with regard to Democrats pushing back? We can start here. Biden teases comeback as AOC Bernie trash Dems on anti-Trump tour. Dems are their own worst enemy. Democrats scrambling to save their sacred cows. Dems are burning their party to the ground. Searches for remedies to quote-unquote Trump derangement syndrome. Oh, that guy that the one guy tried to make illegal, and then he was outed as a child sex abuser like the day after. Nothing. Trump mocks Biden's returns to politics. I hope so. They really are the only people doing anything. Incredible stuff, really.